Welcome to Don't Do Disney
Without Us.
My name is Daniel.
And my name is Zach.
And welcome back to our show. Episode 21. It's a little show we like to do where we talk about all things Disney, including why my headphone cable won't stay behind me. Things that happen at the theme parks, things that happen on the streaming services, things that happen in the movie theaters. Pretty much everything dealing with Disney except for the sports.
You know, is your cable, is that Bob Chapek's fault somehow?
Yes. I squarely blame Bob Chapek for messing with my headphone cable because that's what he likes to do. He likes to, apparently, according to the internet, he likes to take things that people enjoy and then crush them. So that is what I'm led to believe, and the internet never lies, so it must be true. We are in a weird discombobulated state this evening because we had to rearrange everything to record our interview with Jen LaForge a couple of weeks ago.
Which, if you haven't listened to...
Yes, please check out our interview with Jen LaForge. We did it live during the live Pride 48 weekend. I thought it was a great show. I thought we had a great conversation with her. And if you would like to know who the gayest Disney villain is, you're going to need to watch that show. But we had rearranged everything now, so now I'm getting everything set back up. Plus, we're subbing in a new camera tonight. So there you go. This does not affect audio people at all. Still the same old audio stuff, other than the fact that I don't have my mic set where I needed to have it set. So, and now you've lost interest of that. I'm so sorry. Anyway, how you doing, Zach?
I am here, ready to talk about Disney things.
Excellent. Since our last recording, we have gone to Walt Disney World to participate in the Disney One Family pin trading event over at Epcot.
The pin celebration.
Ooh,
the big formerly yearly in-person, then digital for a couple years because of COVID, and now we're back to in-person events.
We are, and it was fun. It was great to see people pin trading, to be able to walk through, and we traded a couple of pins in the trading room. We were stopped on the promenade around the World Showcase by someone who said, "Hey, you have a lanyard on. I want to trade pins." Like it was like, old times. We traded some pins. We ran into some small children over in Club Cool who also wanted to trade with us, and so
we ran into some Disney YouTubers, Valerie Singer, Crazy Kylie 14.
Yep. And then the ones that we just did a podcast with. We were guests on their podcast as Julie and Nick from Pin Voyagers, right?
Yes.
Pin Voyagers. I just want to make sure I get the name of the podcast correct. So Pin Voyagers, we are on their latest episode as guests on that show. And but we also saw them at the event. So there you go. It was a great event. So what we're going to talk about here, because there will be a YouTube video coming out in the next several days showing our actual pin haul from the event. And if you don't know anything about the event, well, we're going to tell you about it right now. The pin trading event is set up by Disney for you to be able to trade pins with Disney. That is one of the main activities. Some would maybe even say the main activity.
The main activity. It's really, aside from the trading room, the only activity.
There's trivia contest and some other contests, but you have to be selected to go into those. It's kind of a random thing. But the pin trading works in this way. There are numerous different areas around the room where you wait in line and you go up. The pin boards are facing away from you, so you cannot see the pin boards when you're in line. You hand them 2 trading pins, and then you go to the board and you select 2 pins off. You have 60 seconds to take the board in and figure out which 2 pins you want to trade, and then they will hand you those pins. Now, the thing that makes this great is that there are very special pins that you cannot buy anywhere, that are not normally traded anywhere. The only place you can get them is this event, and those are called artist-proof pins and production-proof pins. So they're pins that are specially marked, and they have to do with the actual process of making a pin. They'll run a very, very tiny, small batch to make sure that the pin can even be made correctly. Those are the production-proof. And then they will run a slightly larger batch to make sure that all the ink colors are right and all the little pieces work correctly on the pin before they commit to doing a huge batch of them. And those are called artist proof pins. They're all stamped on the back with either AP or PP. And that's the big thing at this show. Like that's the reason that you go to the show is to get yourself some AP and some PP pens. Yes?
No, I mean, you can theoretically buy these on the internet if people put them up for sale. But yes, you will not find AP and PP pins except at this particular large event. And Disney pulls these pins from all the parks around the world, and they just send them to Florida for the event.
So the event is held in the World Showplace, which is the large building that is kind of tucked in behind the walkway between Canada and the UK at Epcot. So if you've ever walked between Canada and the UK and you kind of saw a fence closed, or maybe you saw the fence open and you saw a building out over in the distance, that is the World Showplace.
There's a Joffrey's cart and a right now closed merchandise cart on that pathway.
Right. But beyond that is where the World Showplace is. It's an enormous building. It's kind of a semi-permanent building.
It was supposed to be temporary for the Millennium Celebration, and then they realized, hey, we can have events here, and now it's just basically a permanent fixture.
It's a permanent fixture. The construction of it is very similar if you guys are old enough to remember Mickey's Birthday Land or Mickey's Starland, the tents that they had set up there and then that they did shows in. It's a similar type of construction of that. But it has been there for, 20 years now? So it's been there for quite a while. But that is where they hold the event. And there are, I want to say, 5 pin trading stations during the event that we had this year. So there were 5 different pin trading events. And they mix them up a little bit. Some of them have, instead of a big pin board, some of them have tinier pin boards inside, broken up by 4s, right? So like 4 different containers that have smaller pin boards, and you can choose which container you want to trade off of.
Or
on some of them.
You play Plinko or spin a wheel, and
other times it's random as to
they're
which
themed
one.
to various Disney movies. Sometimes they're literally just a pin board.
Right. So the event itself, I'm kind of jumping around here on our spreadsheet, but not our spreadsheet, but on our show docs here. The event itself was great. It was a 2-day event held at the World Showplace. There's entertainment in the form of 2 MCs. This year, their names were Cindy and Mindy. The last time in 2019, it was Corgi von Schnauzer and
I don't remember
some cat pun.
Kitty something or other.
Yeah, because it was fairy tales, right? It was a pet themed event. But it's the same 2 ladies. These are veteran streetmosphere performers from Disney. They're absolutely hilarious. They in fact, one of the ones that I know from Pleasure Island from years and years ago, obviously started off her improv career there at Pleasure Island. So very, very funny MCs that are there. They're wonderful. I'm kicking myself now of not asking the one if she, I don't want to use her real name. I'm kicking myself for not asking Mindy of Cindy and Mindy whether she could do an interview on this show. Because I had a card in my pocket. I could have just done it when I was talking to her, but I forgot.
That just means we have to get a ticket to next year's event, hope they're still there, and ask them then.
That's true.
Or find them in I think they still do Streetmosphere in the parks.
They do. But, all right, so the pin event itself was great. We had a special surprise on the second day where they allowed us to trade 3 pins instead of 2 at each of our trades. Your trades are limited every day by tabs on your ticket, so you can do 4 trades on Saturday.
You have the option to enter into a lottery to get additional pin trading tabs.
But just with your ticket, you get 4 trades on each day of the event. But on the second day, they said, hey, today, you can trade 3 pins instead of 2 for each one of your 4 tickets, which meant if you did the math in your head, we got 20 trades total over 2 days, 4 tabs, two trades per tab on the first day, 3 trades per tab on the second day, 20 total pins. Like I said, there will be a haul video coming out here, but I can tell you, of my 20 pins, 17 of them were APs or PPs.
I have fewer because some of mine I went for and they were people's trader pins. But I'm okay with that because I can either trade them or keep them. So, and you might think that, only 4 trades per day, that's a small amount. These lines for these pin trading activities, unless the very first one in the morning is usually a short line and then they just back up.
Yeah. Well, consider every single person in line is going to spend 60 seconds doing their trade. Some of the lines have 2 different stations, so they can handle one person and one person, so it's 30 seconds basically for the next person to go. But some of them just have one board, which means that line that has 30 people in it is basically a 30-minute line, and some of these lines had way more than 30 people in them.
So next time you hear someone talking about a long line for a ride, tell them to go stand in line for a pin trading activity.
Right. So the only problem that I had with this event as a whole, the only thing I will say negative about it, is that they decided to do, all right, the World Showplace opens every morning at this beginning of the event. And it's obviously advantageous for you to be some of the first people to walk through those doors because that means you can get your first trade done more quickly than waiting in a really long line.
And at that point, there are no traders on the board.
Right, exactly.
They do refresh the boards. I believe they were refreshing them on the half hour. But
right. The thing that I haven't mentioned is, and I skipped over, is that when you trade your 2 pins with the cast member on the board, they then, after you leave, put your 2 trading pins that you just gave them up on the board. So as more people trade, there are less Disney pins on the board and more.
Well, they're all Disney pins. There are less of Disney.
Yeah, they're ones coming from Disney. The potential of getting AP or PP diminishes. But then they refresh the boards like once every hour, an hour and a half. On the second day, they were very, very diligent of doing it every 30 minutes, right? So every single 30 minutes, they were refreshing the boards.
And you will have people who will count the number of people in line, look at the clock, and literally stand outside the line to increase their chances of getting quote unquote better pins.
But the point is that it's advantageous to be in early, right? This is why the VIP tickets or the exclusive tickets that you can get for the events allow you to go in first, right? They allow you to go in before the rest of the folks, by a couple of minutes. But it's enough to get you in line and get your first trade done quickly. So they decided, because it used to, and we're not veterans of this. This is our second in-person event.
We have only done 2 of these events.
But in the past, the last one we were at, there was just a huge mob of people outside the World Showplace lining up as early as they possibly could in the morning. Like the doors are going to open at 9:30. They were, sitting there at 7:30 a.m., right? Getting as close to the front as they can because they wanted to get in immediately.
These, I feel, are people who take it very, 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 very seriously, as opposed to us.
Yeah. And there's people that make their living off of trading pins, right? So the people that have stores and online stores and whatnot like that. And I don't fault any of this. I'm just saying that in order to kind of cut down on that whole mob thing this year, someone at Disney came up with the idea that, okay, we're going to have you, when you get to Epcot, you're going to talk to a cast member in a special ticket booth, and they're going to give you a numbered wristband. And then we're going to line you up based off of the number that's on your wristband when you get to the World Showplace.
So it's still advantageous to get there early.
Right.
But you don't necessarily have to get there at 7:30. I don't even know that they'd let you in the parking lot at 7:30.
But, they will. But I don't know if there was a communication. Well, clearly there was a communication problem here somewhere with somebody. But if you came in the back entrance of Epcot, they didn't have numbers the first day. So a bunch of those people didn't have wristbands. And then in the main entrance up in the front of Epcot, a lot of people didn't know to go to talk to the cast members to get the numbered wristbands.
Despite there being 500 emails sent telling you the procedure.
And some cast member then decided, oh, we're not using it. We're just not going to just go. We're not going to use it. We're just going to go. Right.
Yeah,
Which then caused even more chaos.
Day 2, they only gave wristbands out until 8:30, and then they're like, screw it.
So it ended up with a really, really disorganized entry into the event. And I think if anyone was going to ding this event for anything, it would have been that. But I in their defense, in the pin department's defense, the people that put on this event and whatnot, that's not them, right? That is the events department at Epcot, right? So, like the pin department doesn't have enough employees, enough cast members to like go out and give out wristbands and stuff like that. This was all organized by Epcot itself. The Epcot events department organized that. And it was organized badly and it was executed badly. And I feel like some of the people that worked really, really hard to put on this event got a lot of negative feedback about that whole thing, which was something that was just not in their control. And so I wanted to separate it out here when we talked about this to say that, yes, it was a complete cluster mess and it was completely annoying. Did it keep anyone from enjoying their entire event? No, it didn't, but it was a major frustration because no one knew what was going on. And that just makes everything feel when you have a perceived need to get into the building first, right? We paid extra to be into the group
Right.
that got in before the rest of the folks. And then they're like, oh no, you don't have a wristband, you can't go in. And then they're letting general ticket people go in before we. It was very annoying, and
It was messy.
It was very messy.
And hopefully regardless of who got the feedback, hopefully the feedback gets passed along to the appropriate people so that next year's event does not have this kind of situation happen.
Right. But to the cast members from the pin department that were there, people that we used to see at all the pin trading events that are held quarterly at Walt Disney, people like Aaron with an A and Aaron with an E, Quinn, and I'm gonna miss people, but who was the new one this year? Patrick that made the Christmas ornaments and stuff.
Jess.
These people all work really, really hard. They did a great event. And they're there to talk to you about pins, and they're genuinely interested in what you have to say about your experiences of pins that you like and pins that you don't like, and the types of things that you collect and the kinds of things you don't. It was, they were all great. All of them were great. The entertainment was great. The pin department was great. It was just that whole.
It was just getting in.
Yeah. The worst thing about that was that's your first thing, right? That's the first impression that you have there. So, all right. I think we've killed the anything you want to say about the pin event, keeping in mind that I've already said there will be a haul video. You will get to see these pins on our YouTube channel, so you can see all of the glorious pins that we got at the event. That video will be coming out in the next week. So
no, I think we got all the information out of it that we could.
Okay. I'm wondering whether we should talk about item number 2, because we're already at like 20 minutes.
We can save it.
Or we can save it.
We can save it.
I mean, there's not much to say.
It's quick.
Yeah, it's quick. All right, so we went to Hoop Dee Doo review also. This was something that neither of us had ever done before. So we went to the Hoop Dee Doo review. And tell me, what were your expectations before you went?
So my only exposure to the Hoop Dee Doo review, or as we call it, the Howdy Doo review.
The Howdy Doo review, yeah.
Was a couple YouTube videos and people on the internet saying it's amazing. Either it's amazing you have to go, or it's terrible and corny.
Right.
And it is all of these things.
It is terrible and corny, but you have to go because it's great.
Yes. Going in that it is corny and the jokes are Jungle Cruise level, if that.
Mm-hmm.
But it is truly an experience to be had at least once.
I did not have high expectations for the Howdy Doo review. I came away from it loving it. I thought it was great. One of the banes of my existence are audience participation things. And I knew that there was audience participation, like they bring people up on stage. And I was nervous about that for a little while until when it actually came to that segment where they only need 4 people. So you're pretty safe.
Your chances of getting picked out of everyone in Pioneer Hall are very low.
Very, very low. You're not going to, you're probably.
Unless you're like standing up screaming like you're on The Price is Right.
Yeah. So if you're like me and you don't like to be picked for audience participation things, take heart. It's not a high pressure thing. They're not going to pick.
And I'm pretty sure if you are one of those people and you tell them no, they'll move on to somebody else.
Still, there's hundreds of people in the room and they need 4 people, so it's fine. You're not gonna do it. The food, I thought that the food was going to be the exact same food that they serve at Trail's End,
and some of it is.
No, it's not. The chicken that we had at Trail's End was rotisserie chicken. The chicken that we had at Howdy Doo was barbecue chicken. They had ribs. They had pork ribs at the Howdy Doo, and they had brisket at Trail's End.
I mean, they share a kitchen.
They do. The cornbread, it feels like it was the same recipe, but it was a different presentation of the cornbread.
It was a pie in the Howdy Doo, Hoop Dee Doo.
And in the Hoop Dee Doo review, the strawberry shortcake was the dessert. And I'm going to throw this in now. So this is only for folks that are watching us on video. For those of you on audio, you're just going to hear a lot of noise. I apologize. But at the end of the Howdy Doo review, when it's dessert time, they hand out washboards and spoons to make noise. And you're supposed to make as much noise as you have. And I filmed Zach doing it with the most bored expression on his face as he sat there and hit his little washboard. It was really super cute. So if you're only listening on audio and you're hearing this horrible clacking noise in the background here, that's what it is. It's that video. So go check it out on YouTube and you can see Zach being...
It wasn't bored. It was more a combination of terrified and not quite sure.
Mm-hmm. But it was fun. I thoroughly enjoyed the Howdy Doo review. I would do it again. Would you do it again?
I would.
Yeah.
Probably with people who have never done it before.
Yeah.
And from a price perspective, you get a full meal, appetizer, entree, dessert.
As much as you'd like to eat.
Yes, it is all you care to eat, as well as unlimited basic drinks, soda, tea,
beer,
and unlimited specific beers and wines and sangrias.
Yeah. So beer, wine... Oh, sangria is wine.
There are
beer, wine, and sangria.
There's a few extra things you can add on that aren't included, but I think it's $56 a person.
Yeah.
Which for Disney, for a 2-hour dinner show and a full all you care to eat meal is absolutely insanely cheap.
Yeah. It was really good. And it's a great show. So, check out the Howdy Doo review next time that you're over at Disney.
There are 3 shows each night. I think it's 4:30, 6, and 8:30.
Yeah.
You do have to book in advance on DisneyWorld.com or the My Disney Experience app, and they, at least when we booked, which was shortly after they reopened, they filled up really fast. We had to book out all the way out to August, so just keep that in mind. But yeah, definitely worth it.
Excellent. And then the final thing we wanted to talk about this week was, because this was a big pin celebration, it also coincided with the Typhoon Lagoon H2O Glow Night events that's happening every Saturday nights during the summer at Typhoon Lagoon. We had gone to one last year and really enjoyed it.
By last year, he means 2019.
I'm sorry. But we were looking forward to going to the H2O Glow Nights, and so we booked, we bought our ticket for that because we were going to be there. We went, and I would say we were there for maybe a half hour, 45 minutes before the first thunder strike happened and they got us out of the water. And then we all sat under sheltered gazebos and shelters while the rain happened for another 45 minutes before they finally decided that they were going to cancel the event. So they canceled the event. Yeah.
And rained and rained.
So when they cancel the event, your ticket is converted into just a single day water park ticket that you can use anytime from a year after that.
Which would be great if we didn't already have the water park add-on to our passes, thus making that entirely useless.
Right. So your other options are you can reschedule for another H2O Glow Night.
Except there's only 2 left, and they're both sold out.
So we couldn't do that. So we just had to take the refund for that. Yeah.
we need to call Disney and get said refund, but
Yeah.
that means sitting on hold for however long it takes a cast member to pick up.
I think it can be handled via email at this point in time. All right. So those were the things that we wanted to talk about. We don't really, we're trying a thing here where we're going to skip over news because we've noticed from the analytics that a lot of you folks bail when we start talking about the news, and I don't blame you. We are not news people. We're just reading the words that other people have reported on and whatnot. So we're going to try and see what it's like to do this without news. We're just going to talk about.
If you really need Disney news, there's a ton of places on the internet you can get it.
Let me introduce you to my friend Google. So that means that we're just going to jump right into our heroes and villains of the week. And if you've always bailed at news and you have no idea what I'm talking about, at the end of every show, we like to choose something personally that we really loved about our experience with Disney during that time period, and something that we really disliked about Disney during our time period, our hero and our villain. This is an odd number show. I believe that means we start with villains.
It does. It's marked right there.
Where? Oh, even heroes, odd villain. Oh, that's what that means. Wow, that's
you
cool.
put it there.
I'm old and I drink. Okay, so do you want to go first? Who's your villain of, I can't say week anymore because, well, yeah, it is. You know what? It's week. Even though we come out bi-weekly, who is your villain of the week?
The inconsistent markings for AP and PP pins. You will see this when we do our pin haul video, and I believe we talked about it in our Fairy Tales pin haul video.
Yeah.
But some of your AP and PP pins are very clearly marked in large white or gold or black lettering.
Yeah.
And then sometimes they stick those things in the tiniest microscopic print possible in a corner of the pin that you probably won't even look at, that you still need a magnifying glass to see.
Now, the World Showplace has theatrical lighting in it, kind of like if you've ever gone to a big convention where they have a big convention hall where they have theatrical lighting, so there's different color lights happening during the entire. So it's not a brightly lit room to start with, and you're constantly holding your pen and trying to
get the
see
light to hit it just right.
See where the AP and the PP is. But yes, so that is your villain of the week. My villain of the week is the DVD player at Fort Wilderness. Now we're staying at Fort Wilderness for this event, and they have they have a campfire every night with Chip and Dale, and then that campfire bleeds into a movie under the stars where they play a Disney movie. They have a nice big movie screen there and seating, and it's all very lovely. So we were watching Hunchback of Notre Dame was the movie that was playing, that we went to the movies under the stars to see. And I would say 10, 15 minutes into the movie,
we didn't even make it all the way through the first song.
The DVD skipped or stuttered or whatever. It just started jumping around, and then they had to pause it and kick it and hit it or whatever they had to do. And I'm like, you have every single Disney movie on Disney Plus streaming that you could have just downloaded ahead of time, and then there would be none of these problems. I can't believe you're still using a DVD to project your movies here at Fort Wilderness. But we ended up leaving because it got so bad that I and I hadn't seen Hunchback since it came out. So we went back to our RV and went on Disney Plus and watched it there so that we could have a flawless viewing experience of it. So get rid of the DVD players, Disney. That's
it's 2022.
Now, who was your hero of the week?
The return of the in-person pin trading events. We talked to
Aaron with an A.
Aaron with an A, who told us that this event and the others are just now coming back because they just got the okay from on high that it is okay to have in-person pin trading events. Yep. So the annual pin trading event will be held at Disney World, and then Disneyland does one as well in the late summer / early fall. So there will be 3 quarterly events and then the big annual pin trading event for a total of 4 pin trading events every year. And hopefully that means the next one is sometime right around Christmas.
We're hoping. If everything goes well, we will have a fourth quarter to us, first quarter to them,
Yes.
pin trading event. Otherwise,
Probably
it should
first
be,
quarter next year.
Should be early next year. So that was exciting to hear. Also, the other thing that's kind of slowing that down is that we found out during some of the panels at this event is that they work on pins and these events 18 to 24 months ahead of time. So, just because they've now got the clearance to go back, they don't necessarily have all the pins designed for these events and whatnot. So
I feel like though they do, because Aaron
Yeah.
or Quinn or somebody had said they have a lot of pins just sitting in storage ready to go.
So hopefully we will get to do a pin trading event in person. The quarterly one is right. My hero of the week is Rusty, a cast member at Fort Wilderness. The day after the H2O Glow Night debacle, because as we were leaving Typhoon Lagoon in all of the confusion, there were cast members in blue shirts basically stationed telling you what you can do, right? You can either go out to the ticket booth and stand in a ridiculously long line and have them deal with it, or if you're staying at a Disney hotel, you can just go to
Your front desk.
Your front desk or the concierge, the concierge desk at your hotel and have them take care of it. And I was like, hey, that sounds like a much better idea. So I went to Fort Wilderness. Fort Wilderness doesn't have a concierge, but they do have a front desk. And Rusty was the cast member there. And he went above and beyond trying to find out what the situation was and seeing whether he could get things sorted for me. He did end up giving me all the contact information that I needed to get a refund. Had I wanted to convert it to a single day water park ticket, he was able to do that, but he couldn't issue a refund because we didn't buy it through Fort Wilderness. Like we didn't buy it as part of our reservation. So anyway, but Rusty literally just said, I have no idea how to do this, but let's just figure it out. And, jumped on the phone, went back and talked to his manager and got things settled. So Rusty at Fort Wilderness, I think that's his name. I really should have written it down, but I'm pretty sure your name is Rusty. You're my hero of the week. So my hero. Anyway, there you go. That is a show. Thank you guys for listening. We do appreciate it. If you want to send us an email, you can do so. Our email address is don'tbumpyourmicrophone@gmail.com. No, our email address is don'tdodisney@gmail.com. And you can find us on the social medias where you find our normal stuff for WDW Aristocrafts. We're on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, all of those good places. And of course, you can always check out our YouTube channel, which is the WDW Aristocrafts on YouTube. Anything else that I missed?
Nope.
No. Great. Until next time, all that remains is for me to ask you to please, please, please don't do Disney.
Without us?
That's a question.